Welcome to Dominant Mets Nation. Well, folks. Francisco Lindor actually has an opportunity to do something that has not been done ever in Major League Baseball history. Now, we already know Shohei Ohtani is on, he's really chasing that 50-50 mark, 50 plus home runs and 50 plus stolen bases. And we know that feat has never occurred in Major League Baseball. The 40-40 club have six members of it. There has been six players that have achieved 40-40. Jose Canseco, A-Rod, Barry Bonds, Alfonso Soriano, Ronald Acuna, and of course, Shohei Ohtani. Now, this year's MVP race is an NL MVP race is between two men, Lindor and Shohei Ohtani. And the more and more I look at these numbers, the closer and closer it becomes. Now, there are things numbers wise that Lindor has an opportunity to do that few men have done ever. In fact, there's a stat line that only two men in history have achieved. One of them is a New York Met. He's a New York Met, and the other one is a New York player as well. So there's actually a stat line that Lindor is very close to achieving that only two other players in history have achieved. But there's also another thing that Lindor can achieve that nobody in baseball has achieved. We are going to get into that. First, on the board, we see Lindor's numbers starting from March, April, May. March, only a few at bats. He was .83. Batting average, only one hit. April was a horrible month for Lindor. He batted .210, only had a handful of hits, 22 hits. Even worse, a .685 OPS. Terrible, horrible start. May didn't get that much better. More respectable .762 OPS, 18 RBIs, 4 home runs. But the team, we know, the Mets, they started off, they stunk. They were horrible. You know, Lindor's impact on the bunch was nil. It was people complaining, hey, you're paying him $34 million. Mets, ah ha ha. You know, a lot of clamor about that. Then we had the players only meeting. We shifted Lindor to the leadoff spot. And Lindor, I'm telling you, this guy transformed. He became a leader. And I think also, too, and I made note of this in my earlier notes, there were questions. How much of the effect that the potential Pete Alonzo departure had on Francisco Lindor's kind of role in the locker room? Like, Pete Alonzo was a big figure when Lindor arose here. He had already hit over 50-something home runs as a rookie. He was well established with players. He knew, obviously, Nimmo, McNeil. There was a core there, essentially, when Lindor arrived. Now, there was a lot of conversation in late May that Pete Alonzo could possibly be traded. There was a lot of clamoring around what's going on with Pete. I think that was a pivotal point in the season where Lindor said, guys, get on my back. I am the team leader now. And that's when we saw a huge shift. Lindor in June bumped up his average to 290, but more importantly, 871 OPS. He was slugging more. He was walking more. He was getting on base more. He had 29 hits, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, and then he just kept getting better. He was playing great defense, setting the tone at the beginning of the lineup, having an effect on Mark Vientos, having an effect on ground ball pitchers. You know, just like last night, David Peterson, we have a great defense behind you. You can pitch more confidently. You can induce more ground balls. July, offensively, the offensive numbers ticked up even more. 274 average, 941 OPS, 9 home runs, 23 RBIs. Now we're getting to MVP numbers while playing Gold Glove defense. And folks, we're going to get to those special stats coming up. In August, 5 home runs, 15 RBIs, 340 batting average, 982 OPS. Now, in the last 2-3 months, we have MVP numbers. Lindor, if he was playing like this, and I know you can't say that, but It's at the end of the day, you're going to see that Lindor is going to do things this year that not many people have done in Major League history. Now, if you go back to, like, let's say you look at the 30-30 club, you got a bunch of guys that have done that, 40-50 guys. Now, Lindor, he has an opportunity to hit 35 home runs, 35 stolen bases. How many guys have hit 35 home runs and 35 stolen bases? In history, it has happened 15 times. Only 12 players have done it. Some players have done it multiple times, like Willie Mays, Bobby Bonds, and Alfonso Soriano. Now, let's look at go even further, because Francisco Lindor has 34 doubles. So if Lindor gets to 35 home runs, 35 stolen bases, and gets to 40 doubles, how many guys have gone 35, 35, 40? Now, this is where we get to an insane part of history. Only two guys in MLB history have gone 35 plus in home runs, 35 plus in stolen bases, and 40 plus in doubles. Only two guys. The first time it has happened, it occurred by a New York Met. Second time it happened by a New York Yankee. So the second time was done in 2002 by Alfonso Soriano. He hit 39 home runs, 41 stolen bases, and he had 51 doubles. Crazy good year. That was the second time in history it happened. The first time in history it happened, it was accomplished by a New York Metropolitan in 1989, none other by Howard Johnson. Hojo himself in 1989 had 36 home runs, 41 stolen bases, and 41 doubles. He was the first man ever to go 35, 35, 40 in the doubles category. Now, Lindor has a chance to be the third man to go 35 home runs, 35 stolen bases, and hit above 40 doubles. Now, he has a long way to go, but that is rarefied air. Now, obviously, Ohtani is going for the 50-50 club. Nobody has done that. What can Lindor do to match that? What can he do that nobody has done? Well, I'll tell you, folks, if Lindor gets to that rarefied air and he goes 35, 35, and 40, and wins a gold glove or puts his name into consideration with a gold glove, nobody has done that. In fact, that would be one of the most offensive and defensive complete years in all of MLB history. Now, that is a complete performance that I believe will trump and triumph a Shohei Ohtani. Hands down. If he goes 35 home runs, 35 stolen bases, 40-something doubles, gold glove, 100 RBIs, 100 runs scored. Nobody in history has done that. Nobody in history has done that. Nobody. And even if Shohei Ohtani does something that nobody has done in history, he still doesn't play the other side of the ball. And I'll tell you the big effect that has. So if you go to Baseball Savon has many different metrics, but it's got three main metrics to measure your on-field worth. Batting run value, which measures yourself at the plate, base running value, which measures how you run the bases, and fielding value, which measures how good of a fielder you are. Now, batting run value, Francisco Lindor is great. He's a 91. Batting run value, Shohei Ohtani, he's great too. He's a 99. Not too much separation, and that's what I'm talking about. They're both great on the offensive side. Now, here's the difference. Base running run value. Shohei Ohtani's only a 53. He's only 3 points better than league average. He's actually at league average. Base running value for Lindor, 88. Dark red in the great category. So he's elite at batting run, and base running, 88. He's also elite. Now, if you go to fielding run value, which is extremely important, it helps save runs for the pitchers. It helps, and make other players around you better. Fielding run value, Shohei Ohtani is a 0. Fielding run value for Lindor is a 96. So he is an elite in every category, every facet. And I'll even give you more numbers, if you want more numbers about how great Lindor is, I actually have like these stats that. Okay, here we go. Everybody's asking me what has made Lindor special this year. So let's take away the numbers. What is Lindor doing differently this year that he hasn't done in past? So right off the bat, this year Lindor has his lowest strikeout percentage numbers as a Met. So he is striking out less this year than any other year as a Met. Okay, that's great. He's being more disciplined. He's striking out less. Now another stat category. He has the highest hard hit. He is hitting the ball harder percentage wise this year than any other year in his career. 48.1% of the 48.1% of the time he is hitting the ball hard. That is significantly more than at any other point in his career. I think his next closest is either 43 or 45, but it is 3, 4, 5 points higher than his next highest year. So he's hitting the ball much harder. Okay, another key statistic. He has the lowest ground ball rate this year. Only 34% of the time he's putting the ball on the ground. That is the lowest of his career, and he has the highest fly ball percentage in his career this year. So 31.7% of the time he's hitting the ball in the air. He's getting, more doubles. He is getting more lift on the ball. He's obviously has more home run. His slugging percentage, I believe, is at 490. But if you look at his advanced numbers, his expected slugging is 540. 540, which if you're wondering how that compares to the rest of MLB, it's in the 95th percentile. 95th percentile. His expected WOBA is 382, which is in the 95th percentile. That measures on base and slugging percentage. So those two categories are elite. So as a hitter, he is already in the 95th percentile in all these hitting categories. So, comparing him to Ohtani, who's, in the top percentage or in the top tier hitting category, you have to be a most valuable player. So in even fielding range, Francisco Lindor is at the 99th percentile. His stats this year are off the wall. And, we got to see how September rolls. We really do. And I'll tell you what, everybody's saying, oh, you're crazy. It's Shohei Ohtani off, hands down. Okay, and you may be right. Shohei Ohtani is a minus 1100 on the betting side. So that means he's heavily the favorite. Lindor's plus 500. He's plus 500. That's not that crazy of a second. I mean, if it was that much of a hands down, you would have like Lindor more of an Ozuna number, which plus 2,500, or an Ellie De La Cruz more of plus 6,500. There are people who believe, professional prognosticators who believe Lindor has a legit chance. And 99% of the prognosticators believe Lindor is hands down the second best player in all of National League. So that's my quick take on it. What do you think? Obviously we can all disagree, but subscribe. It really helps at the channel, and really it inspires me when you comment, subscribe. I love all that good stuff. Thank you again, and let's go Mets. We got a great big game today. Quintana's on the bump. If we could take 3 out of 4 from San Diego, that would really catapult us in the next series with the D-backs. The Braves, they're playing very well. So if we might have to run down one of these teams, the Padres or the D-backs. So taking as many games from these two teams specifically, and it's actually a luxury that we get to play them. So we get to essentially catch up. All right, well, thank you again, and I will speak to you very, very soon.